young veterans killing themselves at twice the national average. We lose a veteran a week. Something has to change. But it's hard to celebrate this announcement of a commissioner into veteran suicides. The announcement wasn't much more than a press release promising a commissioner and a review into the past reviews. We've had 17 reviews in the last 17 years. They all paint the same sad picture and we're still making the same mistakes. My inquiry in the last parliament found that veterans are seeking help from the Department of Veterans Affairs and having their claims delayed or denied inappropriately because DVA staff are overworked and undertrained. We recommended more staff. The government agreed. So what did the government do? They cut DVA staff by 15% since that inquiry began. The Productivity Commission has found that not all DVA staff are appropriately trained to deal with potentially vulnerable clients. Those are the clients ending up as the suicide statistics. Jesse Bird wrote to DVA condemning the way he was treated over the phone. A short time later, he too was a statistic. Another 2019 review found that the way DVA handles the claims of veterans is potentially harmful to client mental health. DVA is supposed to help these people, and yet the second most common reason for there being delays in veterans getting the help they need is because the Department of Veterans Affairs simply loses their paperwork or forgets to make a decision. Veterans are going bankrupt, waiting for help because their department is forgetting about them. 40% of DVA staff are external contractors who've worked in the complicated space of veteran support for all of 5 minutes. They're undertrained and unaccountable. That's important because no new staff member walks into a job as a full package. You have to learn as you go. But they're on such short contracts and they don't have a chance to learn a thing. You finish the job before you finish your training. There is no replacement for time served. Everything in this space is about time. It's about people dying before their time. It's about the families, the mums and the dads who are being robbed of the time they thought they'd have with their kids. Let me tell you about time. Julianne Finney is the mother of naval veteran David Finney. David enlisted in June 1998 and served for nearly 20 years. He served in Bougainville, East Timor and the Gulf. David was medically discharged in December 2017 with PTSD. He moved to Canberra. 11 months later, he approached the Department of Veterans Affairs asking to be put in touch with a psychiatrist urgently. They wrote back saying he'd have to wait 6 or 7 months. That wait was too long and it cost him his life. He was dead 3 months later. David was a gifted writer, and I want to share what he said about service, and I quote, "Tough isn't about fighting anymore. I look at some of my mates that have been in the militaries for as long as I have. Their sacrifice is great, what they have given up. The family breakdowns, the personal breakdowns, the slow overbearing breakdown of strength and endurance are some of the greatest people I know. These medals aren't free. If you serve or have served, I am and always will be your brother. And although I might have run out of fight, I will still pick you up if you're down, and if you're down, please reach out. I am here." End quote. You know what's so tragic about all of this? Is that we have spent so much time finding ways to stop these suicides, and we keep making the same mistakes. What has DVA learned from Dave Finney's story? They've just finished spending months and thousands of dollars to fight the claim of a 94-year-old World War II veteran, a holder of a military cross, John Hutchinson. In an inquest into the suicide of veteran Jesse Bird, Julianne Finney said the DVA claimed an independent review into suicide was not necessary. That came from DVA. That's how committed the top of the DVA are. How committed is the government to the commissioner role? They're calling it a permanent role, but it's only permanent as they fund it and keep it legislated. It was only in November that the Minister for Veterans Affairs told David's mother that he'd rather hold 100 more inquests than have a Royal Commission into veteran suicide. How will they feel in 3 months' time? Will they change their minds again? The government says an ongoing commissioner means they're not just focusing on moment in time. A one-off Royal Commission can look at moment in time. That's the point. It becomes a forensic focus on the problems of the day. A commissioner whose job never risks just becoming another part of the damn furniture. They're easy to ignore because there's never a final list of recommendations.